I apologize for the technical difficulties that you will be having in this upcoming episode.
We just concluded this episode of our first ever in-person episode. And due to it being our first ever time in person, we ran into a few technical difficulties, mostly with our microphones and the audio. So there will be a number of cuts throughout the video, and as the editor, I apologize for that. And we will work on that going into the future. With that being said,
Welcome to the Ball In Podcast, where the ball is in our court. We got a whole new setup for y'all today.
it's insane.
It's crazy,
Wow,
man.
that's crazy.
We got a flag behind us with our beautiful logo. We got the jerseys.
What else we got,
Even though
Mom?
They are, man. They're just.
What else we got back there?
There's some old jerseys, man. But
Yeah, I think you're missing something.
I gotta start off this episode with some wise words from a wise man. You can't compartmentalize. You must compartmentalize.
What?
Thank you, C Web.
Thank you, C Web.
Well, as LeBron takes a deep three, oh my goodness. I just like to say this to put a button on it. When it's a beautiful shot and the Lakers are up, but when you're a black man in this country, you can't compartmentalize. You must compartmentalize to stay sane.
With that being said, let's get right into the episode. Let's just start off with some recaps. Celtics Sixers. We had a pretty boring Game 7, in my opinion. Stars for Philly not really showing out. The stars for Celtics definitely showing out, particularly Jason Tatum. He has been very hot or cold throughout these playoffs, but had a really good Game 7. Steph did not have that record for long. But yeah, Eric, I'll start with you as per usual. Just thoughts about this Celtics Sixers series and what you thought of Jason Tatum's performance.
I mean, similarly to you, I had a lot of faith in the Sixers, so this is upsetting to say the least. We'll get to talking about what the Sixers do in the future, so I'm not going to bring that up right now. But just in terms of this series, disappointed, mad, even as a non-Sixers fan at all, like could not care less about their team's success, but just still it makes me mad. Like the ability this team had, just looking as an outsider and just choking a 3-2 lead. Your MVP gets 15 points in Game 7. I mean, and he also had the biggest drop off like ever from regular season to postseason in terms of points per game for an MVP. Just ridiculous. Looks terrible for the Sixers. Adds on to their resume of terrible playoff appearances. So, yeah, that's all I have to say on that.
I'd like to point one thing out. As the resident NBA casual, as we all know, all three of us made finals predictions at the beginning of the playoffs. Only one of us has a team left from the original predictions. Can we take one guess as to who might have a team left in their finals predictions?
It is you.
It is me. The Boston Celtics are winning the NBA Finals.
You know what? It's okay. Injuries happen.
I don't want to hear your excuses. I don't want to hear your excuses. That's fine.
Look, man, I got too many excuses.
You win some and you lose some. You know, you win some and you lose some. It's fine. But me personally, I'm going to take this as a dub, as I did in the play-in series as well.
Finished.
Well, your job's finished because they're not going. Neither of your teams are in.
Just saying.
So my job's not
Hey,
finished. My job's not finished.
What's there to be happy about?
Both your jobs are finished. Mine's not finished. I'm up 2-0.
I got another team. I'll talk about that later.
You can't. I'm saying your original predictions. It was
Okay. From the East.
from the yeah, but your West team's gone too.
Get to your point, man.
That was my point. That was the only thing I was going to say about
Dude,
it. I really liked how Jason Tatum played basketball. It was actually very fun to watch Jason Tatum in the third quarter, though. Extend the lead. Yeah, great day for me.
Yeah, I honestly I don't really have any thoughts to add on to that. Although I will say this, I didn't like everybody clipping out the Embiid bit. I will say I had a bad initial reaction to it, but when I actually went back and I was looking through the transcript and actually what he talked about during the full press conference, I feel like it
took it out of context.
Being the media and really trying to.
It's definitely taken out of context.
Take that out of context.
So what did he mean by that then? When he said
So
him and Harden
what
can't play?
What he was basically saying was everybody needs to be better. He needs to be better. Harden needs to be better. He doesn't really know what the team is going to be like moving forward, especially with Harden having a player option this summer. They don't know if they can bring the same team back next year. So he was more so talking to the point that basketball's played 5-on-5. He doesn't know what the team is going to be like next year. But in terms of everybody, it's not just him. Everybody has to get better. And so he was more so emphasizing the point that the team as a whole has to get better because it is a 5-on-5 game. And there's only so much that he and James can do. Although they did do nothing in Game 7, but that's besides the point.
It's true.
Yeah, I just think he didn't have to mention that at all. There's only so much him and James can do because it's like if they combined for 50 or 60 in Game 7 and lost, sure, but they did nothing. So.
Yeah, let's move on to another really good matchup though. Lakers Warriors. Lakers taking that away in 6. Yeah, honestly, Eric, I'll go back to you. Just thoughts on Lakers Warriors.
Man, okay, so I don't know what to think. Like a lot of fans might say Warriors just choked, played bad, should have had this, and it's true that Steph seemed to be the only one that came to play in at least, some of these later games. But I don't know if it's time that we have to start crediting the Lakers defense. I mean, we said this about the Grizzlies in the first round, like, oh, Dylan Brooks started trash talking and then playing like trash. Oh, Klay Thompson's playing like
JaMychal Green.
JaMychal Green. Cap. But this is a very well balanced Lakers team. Very good defensively. I think underrated, especially after their trade deadline moves. And I think it's time we start giving them some credit for their wins instead of saying the opponents played bad, personally.
I just realized, I have to apologize, Pavon, you did have the Lakers winning the finals. So you did have a team left.
Well,
It's
that's
you.
what I was talking about.
Yeah, no, I just didn't
But
that.
that wasn't his initial. No, was that
Yeah,
your
it was.
initial
Yeah, it was.
prediction?
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
That
Oh,
was. That's
right,
my
right.
bad.
So, well, here's the thing. So like in our very early prediction, if you go back and check, I said Lakers Bucks and I had the Bucks winning it. But immediately after, I want to say it was end of first round or maybe like the first round was wrapping up, I immediately said, I'm like, Lakers winning the championship.
I'll tell you what, though. I'll tell you what.
No, yeah. I've been on the Lakers train for the whole time, though. I felt like that was way too bold to just go ahead and say that, though. But yeah, you can finish up your point.
Okay, I was just so caught up on that. I was like, oh, wait, crap. Pavon was right. That I forgot what I was going to say. You can go, though.
Okay, I'll bring up this, though. Honestly, with the Warriors, they won the championship last year, and then an early exit, definitely not meeting up to expectations, because when you have that big three together and you're running it back as a championship team, the expectations are to go ahead and go get another championship. But Eric, like, honestly, I don't even know, like, where to go with this, but, like, what do the Warriors do? Do they split up the big three, or do they make a splash move to try and extend their championship?
Splash Brothers.
I don't know where they go with this either, because I feel like their championship window, like their championship identity, is Steph, Klay, and Dre. Like no matter how much
Right.
time goes by, like I just don't see the Warriors winning with like Steph and like I don't know, like
Poole.
anyone else. Like I'm not saying Poole, but like even if they traded for some like I don't know, like Bradley Beal instead of Klay Thompson, like that's not a champ. I don't know. It's just it sounds so weird. At least, and not saying it couldn't work, but it sounds so weird. So I really don't know what they do because there's that sounding weird, but you also don't blow up the whole thing. Like you don't rebuild and trade Steph Curry. Like he's still in his prime. So I don't know what they do, but there needs to be some serious fixes, issues addressed to their team culture right now. And just I don't know what's up with Klay Thompson, to be completely honest. Like he has a championship experience in him and he did not look like it at all. So that's very weird to me. But in terms of the non-championship players, Jordan Poole, Wiggins, there needs to be some maturing, I think, if they're going to keep those guys.
Juan and I mentioned it. I believe it was the other day when we were talking about how there seems to be a lot of turmoil between the young core and the championship core, so to speak, in the Lakers locker room. And that all started with Draymond and Jordan Poole before the season started, getting into a bit of an altercation. I like you said, I don't know. You can't. It's hard to say that you could break a big three. I personally think Jordan Poole's not very good for that team in general. So that might be a start, perhaps, but I don't know. It's really difficult to tell where the Warriors go from here. Steve Kerr even said it. This is not a team that was probably built to make it to the finals and win it. They kind of capped out, so to speak. But yeah, it's gonna be a really interesting offseason for the boys up in San Francisco. Is it San Francisco?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I said non-championship guys in Poole and Wiggins, I meant like non-dynasty guys, obviously.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, like honestly, when I was thinking about it, I was more so getting to Sammy's point too. I feel like their experiment this year was more so on the young guys, right?
Mhm.
They wanted to go ahead and see if those young guys would flourish and try to, maximize their role and help them to repeat. Because whenever you're trying to repeat, you always want to get more production. You want to get more help from the people because when you're repeating, you always need more help. You look at the Rockets in the 90s, they added Clyde. When you look at the Kobe and Shaq teams, they flipped role players to try and increase their chances of repeating. You want to look at the Bulls teams, they always tried to change up their role players or maximize the roles of the role players. When you're repeating, you always need more. And I thought the young guys were going to step up, but they didn't. That experiment didn't work out. So what do? I think you package those young guys, maybe even package some draft capital and go ahead and get another star. Because what do we know? We know Steph, Clay, and Dre. Even though Clay might not be that good, that trio means winning, right? It's synonymous with winning. So if you have those three, Looney and Wiggins played really well throughout the playoffs. You know those guys are going to play well. So if you have those five and you can package those young guys and get a star to maybe help you out in playoff situations, I don't know who that could be, whether that be a guard or some guy that can be a volume scorer, just in any way that you can get reliable production, especially come playoff time. I think that's the key for them to extend their championship window, especially when Steph, I feel like, still got a couple more years of his supposed prime.
Mikal Bridges, unironically.
Ooh.
I don't know if they can package young guys and trade for Mikal.
No, he's too
if
good.
the Nets weren't willing to package, like get the package of 4 first rounders, I don't think Poole, Moody, Kaminga, and them are going to be enough.
Well, Macau's gonna be a Dame this next season, so I'm really excited to see that. That'll be really cool. But sorry. To your point though, does it become an issue that the Suns kind of have with the lack of depth that they would have if they were to package those young guys in a trade for a star?
I mean, maybe, but I feel like with the way the Warriors play, they've won without depth and they have won with depth, right? You look at the 15 team, that team had a lot of depth. Then you also look at the KD team, they won without depth. So like I feel
Very top
like
heavy.
when you have Steph, Clay, and Dre, you can really orient your team however it may be. So if they need to adjust to a volume scorer, trying to get those scoring opportunities and being able to flourish in the playoffs, Steph, Clay, and Dre will be willing to do that. So I feel like no matter what it is, I'd much rather just go ahead and get a guy that I know can get me buckets or flourish in the playoffs instead of trying to rely on Poole, Kaminga, and Moody, especially when Kaminga and Moody barely even played. And then Poole was becoming unplayable towards the end of the series. So I think that's where we really go.
What?
Yeah, so the other series I did want to talk about, Knicks Heat. That one did get wrapped up in 6. Jalen Brunson with a costly turnover towards the end of that game. But the Heat just proving again that they are really that team. I don't understand where ESPN is going with their ESPN analytics or whatever, giving the Heat only a 3% chance to win the series against the Celtics. But yes, Eric, I'll go back to you again. Just thoughts on Knicks Heat, and I did want to talk about this too. What do you think the Knicks should do this offseason?
Jalen Brunson is the best player on the Knicks.
No doubt.
Safe to say. And if you don't get that by now, then you need to turn on your TV and watch the game. Or like you don't even have to, because like I barely watched any games in the series because it was the worst series of the conference semifinals. But it's just safe to say that Jalen Brunson is safe to stay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but anyone else, Randall, RJ, anyone else, I wouldn't mind see go. I wouldn't mind a complete restructure of this team around Jalen Brunson. I don't know how they go about that. I think he needs a lot of work. I have like no faith in Julius Randle as a player personally. Like I think he's peaking. And
I mean, that's fair to say.
there's not much more to come from Julius Randle in terms of his career. He'll just go down as a solid power forward in his career. No rings, no nothing.
Yeah.
Unless he gets carried to one, like Al Horford.
Oh, easy now. So okay, hey, you love Gabe Vincent, you hate Al Horford. What's the
Also, how did we
where's
just
the
talk
line?
about Heat Knicks and not even mention Gabe Vincent
True?
at all?
You're right.
True. So see, Gabe Vincent's my favorite player. Like I don't want to G
Of all time?
word too much. So I just figured it was implied. And Gabe Vincent has a pretty shot form. Al Horford does not.
But one of them goes in, and the other one
Gabe
does not.
Vincent's goes in.
No, it doesn't, buddy.
It did in that one game. It did in that one game. That one
Stand
time.
up now.
Stand
up now. Oh, son of a. All right. Anyway.
He's back.
No, I'm not back.
No, he's not.
I think I'm back now. Okay. My point was the Knicks are out of the playoffs, and I'm a happy camper. That was my point that I was trying to make because I hate the New York Knicks. My audio's not working, is it?
Definitely not.
What in the world? Hello? Is that better? That's better. Okay, I'm back. What do we end off at?
We're talking about Knicks Heat.
Knicks Heat. But yeah, I'm very happy that the Knicks are out of the playoffs because I dislike the New York Knicks. I think Julius Randle should be gone. I love Jalen Brunson because he really tried to carry the Knicks to win the series, like I said in the last episode. But RJ Barrett is a really interesting. Is in a really interesting situation for me because he seemed like he was kind of catching a groove almost, and then the last game of the series, it was just like kind of fell flat. So it'll be interesting to see what they do in the offseason, the Knicks. But yeah, I'm very happy. The Celtics won and the Knicks lost. It's a great round in the East.
I'm pretty clear on this. I feel like Randall and RJ just need to be traded. They need to be gone. Especially with RJ having a very good playoff series outside of Game 6, having a very good series against the Cavaliers in round 1. I feel like you ride the high of RJ, and depending on how he's rolling, you just got to trade him away. I feel like RJ, Randall, there's only so much you can do with them. Brunson's going to be potentially an All-NBA guy every year. So you gotta really start building your team around him. They have role players in Grimes and Hart. They have that center rotation in Robinson and Hartenstein. So go ahead and go get that star to package or just play alongside Brunson. So you can go ahead and actually compete in the East. I feel like the East is pretty weak, but at the top, if you have another star alongside Brunson, I really do believe the Knicks are going to be a team that could potentially go to the finals in the next couple of years. But it's really going to come down if RJ and Julius are traded for that right star.
No.
He didn't say they'd make the finals with Julius Randle.
Or RJ Barrett.
Yeah,
RJ
but it's
Barrett.
you
It'd be a
said the
completely
Knicks could
different
make the finals. I don't want that. I will intervene. I will step in and make that not happen. Like David Stern with the Chris Paul trade.
What?
I'll veto.
Who does he think he is?
So is Chris Paul, bro.
I can confirm.
Yes.
Breaking
Where
news,
was he?
Chris
Where was he?
Paul is dead.
Where was he in the last series?
On the note of Chris Paul, though, we'll start talking about Nuggets.
Segue.
Suns.
He's on a roll tonight.
Cheeky.
But Nuggets Suns, great series again. Although Game 6 was terrible, by the way, just another bad closeout game. Ayton didn't play. Wow,
That had no
Eric,
effect
I
on
just
him.
want you to go straight into it. I don't even want thoughts. What did the Suns do with Paul and Ayton, especially after Monty being gone? It is going to be a roster change, or they roll with the roster going forward. So what do you think?
The Suns every year since they got good act like they don't know how to like handle being good. Like they make the finals, choke a 2-0 lead, then they're like
Reggie Miller.
they're kind of all over the place. The next year can't do that good. Then they land KD this year, and it's exactly like you texted me back in February. Is setting up for a beautiful downfall. It's just it wasn't gonna pan out. They had no depth, and And I mean, I don't know. I kind of like the idea of the news that came out that they're aggressively shopping Chris Paul, because I mean, his days are basically over with Phoenix, and like towards his career, obviously too, because he's getting up there in age. Um, but what do they restructure? I mean, obviously they need depth. I don't know what specific names those would be. Similarly to the Knicks situation, I don't know like who's going to be on the market and who's willing to go where, what they can do. But shopping Chris Paul, shopping DeAndre Ayton are the two big things they need to do. I think those are very obvious. I'm not making bold takes with that. But Booker and KD showed that they can be a good duo, but I mean, even with the elite level players they are, it's not sustainable to have to rely on 37 points from Booker and like 32 from KD every night just to win games. Like they need some depth, they need some bench in order to actually at least make the conference finals. So, yeah, I don't know what names they need, but that's general thoughts.
Do you have any idea of like the names? Because I basically was thinking the exact same thing as Eric.
What in terms of just?
I was going to talk about more shopping DeAndre Ayton in terms of like like who's going to be out there, like big men that could be out there.
I don't know if they could. They would probably shop Ayton, but in terms of big men out there, I don't think the Suns necessarily need an excellent big man.
I was going to mention that.
The thing with Ayton is he's getting paid all that money, and he's doing
Nothing.
pretty much what any normal serviceable big man can do.
I might rather have Julius Randle.
Well, not at the 5. Not at the 5.
I don't know how Randle.
Give me Isaiah Hartenstein.
But like, I feel like if there's any way they could get more volume scoring off the bench, because I was really like there were too many games in the playoffs where I was seeing like Suns had 4 bench points like midway through the like second half, like they just have like single digit bench points, or they'd have very minimal bench scoring. And like you said, you can't really rely on KD and Book to do that the whole entire time. You really need bench scoring. So if they can get bench scoring and replace Ayton with a serviceable big man, I think that's where the Suns really improve. And with the Monty hiring, I don't know what it is in the NBA nowadays. I did want to talk about this, and I'll just talk about it now. I don't understand how Monty Williams, Dwayne Casey, Coach Bud, Nick Nurse, I feel like I'm Frank Vogel. Like you're talking about championship coaches and coach of the years that are just on the market. And then there's like JB Bickerstaff coaching in the league. Like there are coaches in the league that are great, but at the same time, there are a lot of coaches that are not better than Monty or Coach Bud or Nick Nurse or any of these guys that I just listed. Like those guys really deserve spots in the league. I have no clue why teams are moving on from them. And then you got like Doc Rivers with the job, like even after all the things that's happened with the teams that he has. Like he's a great regular season coach, but yeah, I really don't understand what teams are really thinking about in terms of coaching market. Like they're just willing to fire away, and I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't either. Like I feel like it's overreactions, and this has been a trend, especially in recent years. Like you've been saying with all these coaches, to just fire after like one failure of a season. Although like Giannis wouldn't say that.
There's no failures,
but
it's steps to success.
It's a bad question, Eddie.
Eric, it's a bad question.
Just because you did not get promotion. Okay, I'm not gonna make it personal. Your family. But no, like I don't get why these top tier coaches are not getting like second chances. Like yeah, if you fail year after year after year, I could see it,
Doc.
But exactly. But and then it's the opposite. But like these coaches have shown they're good, and then it's one bad year, and it's like when you fire the coaches like Monty and Nick Nurse, I feel like that only hurts your team culture even more, because like these are coaches that have proven to win, but it shouldn't be expected at like 100% success rate. And so when you go like shifting through coaches after coaches, it's like even if you're getting another top tier coach, like is that really gonna help? I don't know. I really don't know what teams are looking for. And I feel like a lot of these top tier coaches are just going to like rotate throughout teams at this point. Like Monty might be to the Raptors and Bud might be to the Suns and this and that. And not to mention, I will not be surprised if Doc Rivers gets fired again and still gets another job somehow. And then I'm thinking potential situations, like same thing. What if the Nuggets lose to the 7-seeded Lakers? Is Mike Malone out of there? Maybe.
I wouldn't think so.
Well,
But then
with
again,
this trend recently,
again, you're
with this
right.
trend
No,
recently,
you're
I would
right.
not be surprised.
You're right.
With Mike Malone, right? They would have fired him last year,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you think about it, they didn't have their stars healthy.
Maybe.
That's what the Suns are right now.
Well-
That's what the Bucks were this year. Like the trend is, I mean, like some of these teams weren't really equipped either. Giannis was hurt in the Bucks series. Coach Bud fired. I mean,
Bud.
Coach Bud did have some very bad adjustments, right? The Heat did severely outcoach Coach Bud, but like at the same time, like
Bud and hoser.
I'm really thinking about it like it's a championship coach. I feel like it. The thing with the roster too is I feel like when you're learning systems, in general, this goes for like most professional teams. If you're learning a system, you would like to have continuity year after year. If the coaching market's just gonna allow coaches to be on short timetables, I mean, what do players do? They got to learn a new system year after year and then expect to contend. Like that is so difficult, that's where I'm having the biggest issue, really.
Yeah,
Because how do you expect to get better as a team when there's no continuity,
exactly.
right? Like I'll go right into this. Like Philly, right? They got Harden and Embiid. They've played what, a year and a half? So like I know they've underperformed both years in the playoffs, but they've played a year and a half together. Like they need to play for a little. They could still get better. Like that is a possibility. And the only way that happens really is with continuity, whether that be from a coaching standpoint or from a player's standpoint. And especially like the Suns, right? You're seeing a potential roster overhaul and a coaching change. How do you expect to contend with that? I feel like that's really difficult to do.
I agree. Like that's just a whole new team. It's not gonna be next year that we contend.
Yeah, I don't know. That's tough on the players, man.
It is.
Yeah.
And adding on to what Eric was saying, like he's saying after a bad season, not even a bad season, just a slightly underachieving season based on the expectations of the teams. Like from the Suns' case, like you'd expect them to win the finals. They got to the second round and lost to the number one seed in their conference. So I wouldn't even necessarily call it a bad season. I think it was just a season where they didn't necessarily meet expectations. And you mentioned it, you touched on it, but I think the continuity kind of aspect is also on the side of the players as well. Like I think you see so many players like not succeeding in like one season, and then they're like requesting a trade. Like I want out.
That is true.
And that I think that is also part of it. So it is on both sides. I believe you can see it looks as if it's more on the coach's side because they're just getting pulled out of the situation and it's happening so often now. But it is truly both. It's both sides for sure.
The thing is too, I feel like ringless duos have like stayed together for quite a bit before they like actually made that breakthrough. Like like at Stockton and Malone. You want to look at Hakeem and the like cast of guards that they had around him. They pretty much stayed together. Like you look at any team before they even had that breakthrough, that core stayed together for a little bit. They had to really like go year in and year out of maybe losing in the playoffs, having an early playoff exit, and having like coaching continuities before they actually made that breakthrough. So like I don't know.
It's like even LeBron and Wade in 2011, like they needed that year, and if that happened today, like would Spo have gotten fired? That's a question.
Wow, yeah, it's true.
I don't think Pat Riley's gonna do something.
Pat Riley's too smart.
It's really some of these members that like are just pulling the plug way too early.
I mean, when LeBron averages 17 in the finals, I think that's where the blame lies, pretty obviously. So that's another thing, though.
Yeah. I did want to talk about Philly real quick though on the Doc topic. Like, should they fire Doc or should they actually make a roster change? I feel like we didn't really cover that.
Okay, so I have a hot take on this. They can do whatever they want with Doc. They can fire him, let him go to a better team because Philly needs to start the process over again.
Wow.
That nothing.
Like even Embiid.
This might be This might be recency bias, but I just have no faith in Embiid's performance anymore. I was so ready for them to make the finals. Y'all can go watch our previous episodes. I said Embiid's going to get the MVP and prove why he deserves it and make a finals run because this is the best team they've had since the Butler, Redick, Ben Simmons,
Tobias
Harris,
Mike Scott.
What?
But Embiid has the biggest drop off in points per game for an MVP from regular season to playoffs this year. Harden is hot and cold like he's Katy Perry.
He's on a
Wow.
roll tonight.
He's on a roll tonight.
He's on a roll tonight. He's on a roll tonight.
I couldn't keep
Oh,
my
God,
composure.
Doc
Valid.
fired.
My
Oh
bad.
my God, Doc's fired.
My
Doc's
bad.
fired. He's gone.
Do it again?
Do it again?
Do it again? Oh, you click fired. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God. What is he doing? But no. Process part 2 starts next year.
How would you go about that though? Like, what about it do you?
I don't know.
turn
Harden
over?
can go back to Houston and his clubs if he wants. Embiid. At this point, I don't know if Embiid's gonna win as the star player. He could be like an Anthony Davis situation in LeBron, where like he's arguably the star player, but like he has someone really good right beside him as well. And I don't know if Harden is that caliber anymore. I just don't see, at least in Philly. I just don't see this
What?
panning out.
I think the best bet for Harden and Embiid at this point is Embiid needs a new situation. It's not if it's gonna happen. It's not gonna be a Philly. I'll just go ahead and say it. Embiid's not winning the championship. He's 30 years old. He's a center. He's not gonna. It's not like he's gonna just hop in a chamber and just go back a couple years or something. Like he's a center. A 30-year-old center having a lot of championship years left is a hard ask. So I'm gonna go ahead and say Embiid's not winning the championship. Maybe you can even say that with Harden, but I'll pump the brakes on that one because maybe he could go somewhere. But yeah, like I think it's more so going to be a coaching change at this point because I don't know how much better this roster can get. The roster really had everything they needed to go ahead and win the championship, and then the stars didn't play well. Stars have to play well in order to win the playoffs. I've said that multiple times. I know both of you agree on that. That's always how playoff series work. It comes down to the stars actually coming to play. These stars didn't come to play. The role players are there. The toughness is there. You look at any tangible or intangible across the team, that team was built to win a championship, and their players are clearly not built to go ahead and win a championship. And so, yeah, I'd say coaching change. But Philly's in a mess right now, man. They're in such a middle ground where they make the playoffs every year, and that's really not enough considering the talent they've had. So it's just a really tough situation. Let's move on to the conference finals matchup, though. You got some bubble matchups: Lakers, Nuggets, Heat, Celtics. Eric, I do want to start with Lakers, Nuggets. What do you think of this heavyweight battle between AD and Jokic? And just thoughts, predictions, and what you think the series is going to turn out to be.
So obviously I want the Lakers to win, right? I want to see them in the finals. And I think they're arguably the fan favorites at this point too, which
It's crazy.
is
That's crazy to think about.
that's why I said arguably. It's like they're definitely some big Nuggets supporters, but it's crazy to think about because usually people like don't want to see LeBron succeed. But I don't know, something about this Lakers team is like somewhat likable.
It's very fun.
Even for people that don't normally like LeBron. I guess that's hard for me to say because I mean I like LeBron. I don't like love LeBron, Eshan, but I like LeBron. LeBron's pretty like I'm grateful for everything he's done for Cleveland and all that. So I like LeBron as a player. And I want to see the Lakers succeed. It'll be a very tough matchup. However, I think the Lakers are good for the Nuggets. Are a good matchup against the Nuggets. You can't compartmentalize. You must compartmentalize. You must compartmentalize. Okay, technical issues, guys. But we're over halfway through the episode already, so we're just gonna be innovative here. So, what was I saying about Lakers Nuggets? Oh yeah, want the Lakers to succeed. It'll be tough, but I think they're a good matchup for the Lakers.
Oh my gosh.
And thank you, Vaughn. And so, in that case, I got Lakers in 6, as it's been throughout the playoffs.
I'll give my quick thoughts on this. Honestly, this is not going to be quick, actually. Never mind. But I'll just go ahead and say my prediction before I actually go ahead and go into my, at least, analysis of what I think the series is going to turn out to be. I got the Lakers in 6. I think they'll get one road game. I don't really see them winning in 7, winning a 7th game in Denver. Although LeBron is one of the better Game 7 performers, I think they get this in 6, as they have in the previous 2 series. But I think it's going to come down to this, right? So far in the playoffs, Jokic has not met his match in terms of actually having a even battle. Whether that be how they affect the game, you want to talk about like scoring. If there's anybody that can actually play even with Jokic, it has to be Anthony Davis. And if Anthony Davis and Jokic can be even, I think the Lakers have a really good shot at winning this because the Lakers are not only deep, they also have the guard play to actually
Right.
tire out Jamal Murray. And that can help because stars have to play well, right? I feel like the Nuggets really don't have a matchup for LeBron. Now, granted, a lot of people in the league don't have a true matchup for LeBron. So you're talking about the Lakers being able to tire out Murray on the defensive end with Dennis, Lonnie, Russell, Reeves attacking him like they did in the previous series with Steph. You get Murray tired out, he won't be that productive on the offensive end, and you get Jokic and AD evened out, and then you also got LeBron potentially playing really well in a closeout game. This series has the Lakers written all over it, in my opinion. Although the Nuggets do make a very interesting case because outside of that AD game winner in the bubble, they were very close to beating that Lakers team. If you really think about it, they could have easily made that a series if it wasn't for that AD game winner, which came off that Plumlee mistake on the defensive end. But yeah, I got to go Lakers in 6 simply because of the guard play of the Lakers and also the defense that they have. So yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a team that obviously throughout the run of the Denver Nuggets, the team that will be able to most match up with Nikola Jokic. Cat couldn't do it. Aiton Gobert couldn't. Aiton definitely couldn't. So I think that's really gonna be the point of emphasis. Sorry, with the Lakers, I do think that they will win the series. I think that they will go to the finals. It'll be close. I got the Lakers in 7 yet again, like I did last series for them. But it's gonna be really, really close. I really do like the matchup for LA though.
Yeah, it's going to be a really great matchup, but we'll move on to another great matchup, Heat Celtics, another bubble rematch. Jimmy Butler playing some of his best basketball. This Heat team rolling. Celtics playing an outstanding Game 7 from a team perspective and from a star perspective in terms of Jason Tatum. Eric, I'll go back to you. What are your thoughts and predictions for the series?
So, I got the Heat going to the finals. I think we're getting a bubble rematch. And I mentioned this to you guys personally, but I find it hilarious ESPN fabricating their own narratives, man, with the 3% chance of the Heat making the finals and ESPN acting all shocked. And then they're like, according to ESPN analytics, like, come on, like, where are you getting these numbers from? The Heat are so much more of an equal team than they're making it out to be against the Celtics. And that's with all credit to the Celtics. You know, the Celtics are a scary team. And, you know, I am afraid that they can win this series. Just because of their bench depth, I'm shivering.
Your timbers
In
are
my
shivering.
timbers.
I can see it.
I
can see it.
I mean, they're arguably the deepest team in the league, definitely in the playoffs right now. They just have so many people you can go to. They have offense, they have defense. I mean, it's been showcased in these playoffs. I mean, it sucks for them that they've had so much inconsistency from Tatum, but they've showcased that they can literally still win, even if Tatum has like 7 points, which is crazy considering that's your star player. So it's like I will be not surprised whatsoever if the Celtics make the finals. But for this series, I'm a Heat fan, and I want Jimmy Butler to have another finals run. And obviously, who wouldn't love to see a Bubbles rematch? So that's my 2 cents. But I don't have any more like statistical analysis or anything like that.
I would like to give you guys the script early for this finals because I Adam Silver emailed it to me personally. It's going to be a Lakers Celtics finals. The rivalry is back. It is very much back. Big markets, NBA's gonna. Adam loves it. I know. I call him by his first name because we're such close friends. Adam's gonna love it. But yeah, I got the Celtics winning this one in 6 over the Heat. I think it will be a Celtics Lakers matchup once again. Yeah, I really just had the Adam Silver bit. I'm really excited for this series, though. I do think that the Heat have a chance to. Sorry.
Bulls in 5.
Sorry, Jason.
The mic's back on.
The Bulls, the Bulls have a great chance to win the series.
Yeah, I also got the Celtics winning the series simply because I feel like if you look back at the Heat Celtics matchup last year and the Heat Celtics matchup this year, the Celtics have better depth, and the Celtics won that series. Celtics not only have home court advantage in this series compared to last year, they also have depth. So the fact that they have home court advantage and depth playing into their favor, I just think the Celtics also snagged this in 7 games. I had them in 7 games.
Okay.
But yeah, I definitely think the Celtics win this. I do think the Heat will continue to play well, though. So that will make it tough and extend this to a 7-game series. But yeah, I'm with Sammy on this one. I feel like a Celtics-Lakers series is brewing.
Be a lot of fun.
And
that would be a lot of fun.
It would be very fun if Eric Lewis wasn't reffing any of those games, which would be great. But
it's a bad question, Eric.
So these Erics, man, like come on.
No, what also makes this funny is the ref mistake that everyone keeps talking about in the regular season was also Lakers Celtics, which makes it just really funny. That's just like crazy to think about that could possibly be the finals matchup. But yeah, I think a Lakers Celtics matchup is brewing, and that's really where I'm headed with it. I do want to switch gears real quick though, specifically to Sammy's forte. Sorry, Eric, but the NFL schedule released came out on May 11th.
Stu cannot do it.
But it came out on the 11th. Obviously, we know the opponents and the divisions that teams play. But in terms of the way the schedule is organized and the primetime slots that teams get is always in question, obviously. Sammy, I did want to talk about this. What team stood out to you in terms of getting primetime slots?
Well, this is kind of a thing that happens every year, and I'm kind of numb to it now. My Cincinnati, I don't like people say that. The Cincinnati Bengals, my favorite team. Obviously, you see it every day. Getting 4 primetime games, very good. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. We love it. But teams like the Raiders, the Giants, these big market teams that the Giants is like whatever, but the Raiders having 5 primetime games, no one wants to watch Jimmy Garoppolo
McDaniel's
play the
Raiders.
Like no one wants to watch that, and I don't like that. That's the way it is, but that is just how it rolls, and it's unfortunate, but there's going to be a lot of primetime games in the playoffs, and the Raiders are not going to be in any of those. So, yeah, I guess look at it that way, maybe.
I did also want to talk about this. Just in terms of the Bengals schedule, like what matchups do you feel like are going to be very interesting and maybe even like pivotal games in the season?
I like the Chiefs late, week 17 once again, like it was in 2021. I think that gives us a chance to kind of ease into the playoffs, like facing playoff caliber teams late in the season. I do like that, even though we do have a relatively weak schedule this year, which I also do appreciate, obviously. But yeah, the Chiefs being late, I know there's a lot of top people wanted the Chiefs to be early, with injuries and stuff like that. But I would rather play better teams late because that's ultimately when you're going to have to start getting ready to play those better teams in the playoffs if you are a playoff team, which the Bengals should be, unless I just totally jinx that. And in that case, I'm going to quit life. But yeah, that's really the big one that stuck out to me. Browns in Cleveland on an opening day will be really fun, I believe. Just because of the state of the rivalry now, it is kind of amping back up, and Browns thinking that, and actually my dad mentioned this the other day. Hi, Dad. It's crazy that the Browns don't have to do anything and they get 2 Super Bowls a year when they face us.
Wow.
I think that's really impressive. We got to work for we went to the Super Bowl in 2022 or 2021, 2022. Oh. That's great. We had to work for that. We had to beat the Raiders with Derek Carr. Thank you, Jermaine. The Titans.
Oh.
What? Oh, yeah, Jermaine. Had to beat the Titans with Ryan Tannehill. What? And then the Chiefs, which with the Kermit guy. And then the Browns just get 2 Super Bowls every single year, and they don't have to do anything. They don't have to. They don't have to do anything for it. The Chiefs also get a Super Bowl in the regular season this year.
This is not.
I could go on for
dig at the
ages.
Browns
No, I was going to dig at the Chiefs as well. I could do that too. They get a Super Bowl week 17 because they care. I've seen more people talk about the Chiefs beating us in the AFC Championship than I've seen them talk about beating the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
As a host, I've
It is-
lost control. I have lost
Like,
control.
I will go on.
Is there an
You shouldn't have.
emergency
You
button
shouldn't have.
somewhere?
You shouldn't have.
Is there an
I will.
emergency button somewhere?
I'll circle back. I'm just saying. I think
Back to what you started with.
I'm hitting the button. I'm hitting the button.
I'm done.
It's
I'm done.
not
I'm just
stopping.
saying. That'll be a really fun game to watch. Us go into Cleveland and beat the Browns and their questionable character at quarterback. But I can throw it back to you because I'm done with my rant.
I'm just so disappointed.
I love Nick Chubb, though.
I'm so disappointed.
I love Nick Chubb.
I do want to talk about one last NBA topic so we can bring Eric back into this. NBA draft lottery is coming up this Tuesday.
Wait, what?
Yes.
It is?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
the
no.
NBA draft lottery is coming up, which is crazy to think about because this playoffs have been so great. Playoffs are also almost over, which is
I knew that.
tough to think about. But yeah, the draft lottery is coming up. Eric, I did want to start with you on this. What team would you most like to see Wemby or Scoot land on?
Who cares about Scoot? Let's be real. Let's talk about
who
Wemby.
cares about Scoot?
Oh,
no
don't-
one
don't
cares.
do that.
With
Don't
all
do
due
that.
respect,
Don't
with
do
all
that.
due respect,
With all due
Don't
respect.
with all due respect, we're trying to get views.
The
We're trying to
name-
get clicks. We need Wembanyama.
The name is Victor Wembanyama.
VW, baby.
Volkswagen?
Volkswagen.
Go on.
Volkswagen. Anyway.
Wow.
We only have a few minutes left in this
Wow.
episode, so I'm gonna make this quick. My ideal situation would be crazy if the Mavericks jumped up
Whoa.
because they're in the lottery and they have a
Technically.
chance at it. So that it's not likely, but
The fix
you
is
know, if
crazy.
you want me to pick any lottery team, I mean, I have another team in mind, but I believe it's your pick, and I don't want to steal that.
I believe I
So
have your pick as well.
I'm
but
gonna pick the
I
Dallas
am gonna take it.
Mavericks.
I'm going to take your pick.
If you want me to pick any of the top 3 teams with the chance of winning the lottery, which is the Pistons, Rockets, Spurs, hell, I don't know. Maybe the Spurs, just because like I kind of like their young core. It's
Who's the guy with the cool hair? The colorful hair.
the
guy.
blue. Oh, what's his name?
On the Spurs.
Jeremy something.
Oh, Jeremy Sochan.
yeah,
him.
Yeah.
He's cool. I like him a lot. Sorry.
Anyways,
no, I like it. He's a good player. All right, I will make this quick as well because I have Pavon's pick, I believe, and I'm going to steal it. I apologize, but Blaine did it to me so many times that one episode that I do not feel any remorse. I would love the Blazers to get Victor Wembanyama, aka get the first pick because that's who is going the first pick. I like him pairing up with Dame a lot. That's kind of really my only You can go into it a little bit deeper, but Dame and
But yeah,
Wembanyama is a good
obviously I
deal.
had the Blazers too, and my thoughts with that was the pick and pop game with Dame and Wembanyama is ridiculous. I would like to see Wembanyama at the 4 instead of the 5 coming into the league. Having a center like Nurkic right next to him, even that be for like 10 games, like having a reliable center right next to him, that's gonna help. But if it's not the Blazers and it's a top 3 team, I would like Detroit. They have the guard play. They have like 75 centers on their roster anyway. So you can play Wembanyama at that 4 position. They haven't really had a true 4 really. So if they could just plug and play Wembanyama, have him alongside Cade and Jaden Ivey, that'd be dope, man. That'd be so sweet.
Be sick.
The ending of this episode is also kind of sweet, considering this is the first episode with the new setup. So with that being said, we'll pass the ball out to you guys. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, show us love because we love you too. With that being said,
Don't love the Browns.
peace.